started. Okay, I see that it is. So first of all, hi everyone. So if you don't know me, I'm Alexander from Neptune AI, and so today I'd like to show you the very new Neptune integration with ZenML. So on behalf of Neptune AI, ZenML, welcome to our family. So let me begin with a quick introduction to Neptune. Neptune is an experiment tracker and a model registry tool that you can use to log your metadata about your machine learning experiments. And not just log, but we have a very nice UI, web UI, where you can, analyze and compare your runs. You can visualize stuff. You can version your experiments, organize the metadata as basically as you want, and share it with your friends. And also, nice thing about Neptune is that we have a lot of integrations. So, for example, Keras, PyTorch, Kedro, and now ZenML. So once again, really nice to see this happening. Yeah. So after the demonstration, after the example runs, I will show you how it looks like in Neptune. We also have Patricia on our call. So probably if you have more questions about the product itself, and then she might be the better person to, to answer those questions. But let me talk about the integration. So maybe let's start with a setup. So you can see the setup shell script. I guess that for most of you, it's not a surprise what you're seeing here, but those are basically the steps to follow to set up your Neptune stack. So if I don't know, do we want to like showcase that? I mean, how it looks like, or is everyone here familiar with those steps? Maybe I'll just show you the, okay, so let's say that I have all of those steps. With this integration stuff, I also install TensorFlow because the example is using TensorFlow, and I am installing Neptune TensorFlow Keras package, as we are going to be using a Neptune callback class to automatically log our Keras related metadata. But then, as you can see, I just want to show off that I remember most of those command line commands. We can now have a Neptune tracker. So I also registered MLflow tracker when I was just learning the ropes about ZenML, and I hope that my boss will not be watching it. And we have this nice little this nice little stack that will be using our Neptune integration. So yeah, how cool is that? And then the example is a rather typical one when it comes to experiment trackers. So let's begin with steps. Actually, 2 of the 4 steps are not really interesting. This is just loading the data and normalizing it. So just pretty ordinary stuff. We are using MNIST dataset from Keras. But what is more interesting from the point of view of Neptune integration is the trainer step and then the evaluator step. So maybe let's start with the step itself. So in order to use Neptune experiment tracker, you have to configure it in the step decorator. Alternatively, you can use a configuration file, I guess, but then please refer to a very nice ZenML documentation about that. So this line actually assumes that Neptune experiment tracker is in your active stack. I also added the Keras materializer to be able to return the Keras model. Right. So our step basically just takes training data and some parameters and trains a Keras model on that. Where Neptune comes into play is, well, first of all, this line, but also this line. So with this function that you import from our run state, experiment trackers that run state module, you can fetch the Neptune run that is created basically because of this line here. To this run object, you can pass your custom settings. In this case, those settings for now only allow you to pass custom tags. But we'll see. Maybe in the future there will be something more. And now you basically can do whatever you would normally do with Neptune. So this is the first thing that you can do. You can just log some basic metadata. In this case, this is a learning rate. And this is like the plain vanilla use case of Neptune. But you can also make use of our integrations. And this is one integration that we have with Keras, which is the Neptune callback. So we import it from Neptune integrations, TensorFlow Keras. And you can then pass this callback to the fit method of a Keras model, and it will automatically log the metrics that appear during the training process. Right, so this is, and also then you can also upload the entire model to our registry, which is very useful when it comes to both deployment and debugging in the future, or if you just want to show off during the presentation that you can do such stuff. And then there is the evaluator step, and it also makes use of our experiment tracker. And here, well, plain vanilla log your metric, in this case accuracy. So now the moment of truth. Let's run the demo and let's hope that it works. Okay, so I will tell you about those three and some other lines in here. This line just states that I'm not using GPU on my device. But apart from that, I guess everything is under control. Okay, so we're done. And nothing crashed. So just a quick remark about those three lines. So when I was just starting out, I was experimenting with flavors, and I registered a custom flavor that I named Neptune. And so now if I run ZenML experiment tracker flavor list, flavor list, then you'll see that I actually have two flavors from Neptune. So you probably wouldn't have anything like that. That wouldn't be the case for you unless you try really hard to mess this up. And I did try very hard, and I succeeded in messing this up. So so yeah, that's that. Our pipeline finished its execution. So let's head on to Neptune. Okay, can you now see Firefox?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so so here it is, run number 10, because I was testing it a couple of times before entering the presentation. So metrics, this is the as you could actually see in the in our Neptune callback, base namespace metrics. So this is the namespace in which our metrics were being logged. So some useful stuff. So again, I refer you to the documentation, but this time our documentation. Train epoch. Okay, so everything that was being logged during the training process. What's really nice, and what I've only learned 2 days ago, is that you can also create yourself a nice customized dashboard to visualize some useful stuff. I only chose such 5 things to visualize, but I guess that you can do much more with that. Let's just head to the runs table. So those are the runs that I performed, also the tags. You can use those tags to also fetch some particular Neptune run then later if you have such a need. But just one more interesting feature. So you have this learning rate here, and you can see that with those 2 runs, the learning rates are different. So I set a different learning rate just to be able to show you that you can compare your runs. So click on this little eye icon, then you would have this compare runs tab. And now you can see how those runs were actually, how they relate to each other. Yes, so I find this really useful, and I'm pretty sure that you are going to like it as well. Okay, so I guess that was quick. Do you have any questions for me at this stage, or are we waiting for the Q&A session? I guess we are waiting for a Q&A session. Okay, so